Hello and welcome back to Anti-Depressing. This is the show where we talk about everything from liturgy to Lexapro. Today we are joined, Chanel is going to be here in one hot second, but we're joined by the lovely, introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Ali Hoffman from Dallas, Texas, and I just met I've heard of you guys through
Amazing.
our mutual friend for a long time, and that we're both at the same conference, and so I was able to meet you guys, and I'm like, I love this, and I really love anti-depressing things.
We
So,
love not being sad.
we love that.
It's a big,
I really love not being sad.
it's a big life mood to not
Yeah,
be sad.
yeah.
Well, we're so excited you're here. Tell us a little bit about what you do in your life.
That is an excellent question. I'm a full-time Catholic evangelist, so I travel the globe full-time preaching Jesus and inviting people into relationship with Jesus, as well as teaching people how to pray and discipleship, and a lot of just preaching the gospel of this is who Jesus is, the good news, the Great Commission. And then I do a lot of partnership with different ministries, so in different capacities. So I work with a lot of different ministries throughout the year when they invite me to things or if, part of their mission. So
That's awesome.
always on the road, I feel like, which is funny because I am a homebody and an introvert.
Oh,
And the Lord knew that when he called me into this. So he was like,
pulls you
no.
outside of yourself.
Yeah. He
You
knew
perform very
exactly.
well for an introvert.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you. I can, when I have enough time to be like, okay, wrap your head around, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
This afternoon, I will go into my hotel room by myself and just be like,
you're going to hide.
yeah. And
I'm
can't
also
wait.
an introvert who performs.
Yes. Okay.
So
like
I
an
feel
extrovert
very
and
seen.
introvert. Yes.
Yeah, I can do both.
And people
but-
are probably like, there's no way you're an introvert.
Yeah,
All the time.
I didn't realize I was an introvert either until like college.
Yeah.
I was like, I actually am exhausted from
Yes.
just being with people all the
Yes.
time.
And I have friends that are true extroverts, and I truly do not understand their brain chemicals. When
I
they're
don't
like,
get
I
it.
have to be around people. I'm like, that sounds the
That's
worst.
how my husband is. And I'm like, you know what? I need to not be around people.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I need to be around you. And I'm like, oh my
You're
God.
like, this is marriage. This is marriage,
But
kids.
it's good. It's good. We found a great balance. But
Good.
it is wild how he just gets more energy from being around people.
Yeah, I don't. That's like my parents. Actually, my dad's an extrovert. My mom's an introvert, and same thing.
It matches.
Yeah,
So we
so-
need to find you an extrovert.
What we're saying is, yes,
Yeah.
I need to find, because I do like people who bring me outside of myself,
Mhm.
and so who
It's-
will bring me to places. But
it's
that
so
understands
necessary.
that I love you, but I do not want to see your face right now. But
Yeah, you need to
You.
recharge.
Yeah.
You deserve that time.
yeah, so if you're an extrovert out there, you know,
If you're an extrovert,
who
single
loves,
Catholic
who
man.
loves Jesus, is on mission, on fire.
Oh, these are good qualifiers.
You know, the bar is actually pretty low. I feel like for a lot of people, of like, do you
You would be
love
amazed how many
Jesus?
people don't reach that bar.
It
You
is amazing. I'm like, do you go to mass every Sunday? Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
I know. I'm looking for a man who's on fire, who loves Jesus, who wants to be on mission, preferably wants to live in Dallas, Texas. So,
Dallas, Texas is a poppin' place
Yeah.
to live. He'll
Yes.
be fine.
Yeah.
He can move there,
exactly. Come
whoever
on,
you are.
whoever
So
you
if
are.
you're out there, let us know. Allie's ready. Her
Hey.
DMs are open.
Come
They're
on.
ready to go.
Come on. So yeah,
I love it. Well, we're so excited to have you here. We are going to launch right into our anti-depressing Catholic news, which is the segment of our show where we talk about anything happening in the Catholic world that isn't sad.
I love that.
Our favorite. Do you have something
Mhm.
initially to share?
Two things. One, we were just talking before the show. So we're at a conference right now, NCYC, National Catholic Youth Conference.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Maybe you have. It's national. And
Allie,
there's-
what are you doing here? I'm going to
That's-
hype you up and
I
gas you
know.
up a little bit.
What am I doing here? I ask myself that. How did I get here? I am leading 2 breakout sessions.
Of course you are.
On prayer. So literally I'm teaching youth and the chaperones how do you actually have very practically like a lived daily relationship, because NCYC is going to go away. The big conferences are going to go away. All
Mhm.
of the
They don't
music and the
last.
lights and all that. But what you can do when you go home is how do you live this out every single day? So I'm doing breakout sessions. So I have one this afternoon. I did one yesterday. And I love it. It's so good. So I feel
That's
like, I mean,
amazing.
I don't even know how many thousands of teens. I think
12.
12,000.
Mhm.
Just excited, like Gen Zers and even younger.
They
And
are excited.
it's so fun to see faith alive and so many people excited for Jesus, no matter if they were dragged here or not.
Yeah.
And so if you're watching this and you're thinking the Catholic Church is dead, Au
It's
contraire, mon
alive.
frere. It is alive.
It is.
It is alive.
It is really popping off this week at
Yes.
NCYC.
Yes.
And these kids are like so excited. And Chanel pointed something out the other night. We were at the For King and Country opening concert, which was amazing. We're big For King and Country girls. And we actually got to meet them, which
that's
shook me
so
to my
fun.
core.
Yeah.
But naturally, if you know Chanel and I, we were running a little late. You know, everybody has their things.
I didn't know that about y'all, but okay. Nice.
Okay, you were
nice.
like, actually, you were late this morning, so that makes sense. But we got a little lost in the directions, but we made it there. But we had like a huge crew of us going in, and For King and Country was walking to the elevator, so we kind of missed the meet and greet. But they were walking, and we were like, oh my gosh, hey. And they were like, hey, you guys, like, we'll see you out there. I hope you enjoy the show.
That's
I almost
so
fainted.
Sweet. Yeah.
It was so sweet. They were so nice. Their accents pop in. And then me and my dear friend Diana are like taking selfies. They're like pushing the elevator button, and we're like
one more time. Yeah. You close the elevator.
So I'm going to frame it. I'm going to frame it.
100%. That's amazing.
It's perfect. So they were so sweet. But during that performance, it was so crazy to see so many teens just actually getting to be teens.
Yes.
And like getting to just be kids and like be carefree and just like jumping, having fun. None of them had their phones out. Like they were just really entering in the moment. And I feel like so often teenagers don't get to be children anymore.
Well, that's a great observation.
And they were just able, like this whole time, like they're being silly, they're being fun, they're being loud, they're like walking around, they're, you know, just being obnoxious, kind of immature, but in like a childlike way.
Yeah.
And it's just so nice.
Even like, I didn't know this, but a thing at NCYC is everyone brings crazy hats and that you share the hats, which I'm just like, part of me is just like, what about lice?
It's like lice.
But,
yeah.
But other than that, you know, those are adult worries. Those aren't kid worries.
They're just not worried.
Yes. And so they're just trading hats and they're like some of the craziest things and how they get excited. That is such a good point of like, you grow up so fast. And like you like cares or worries or just like anxieties or looking at yourself. And so this is, good news of you can just come and be here.
Yes.
And like fall more in love with your faith as well as the people that you're with. Or even for the first time knowing, like hearing Jesus loves you and he wants a relationship with you. And so I think that's good news.
It's so beautiful. It's
and
just
then
one of my favorite things.
The other piece of good news that we're talking about is what's happening in the world right now. I know in America it can be very much like doom and gloom and like you said, very depressing things.
Yes.
But I'm able to go to other countries and share the gospel and like what's happening in the world and the church is like unreal amazing. I go to Colombia. I went to Colombia this past year with a priest friend of mine. And I spoke at a conference for those who evangelize youth. So there was priests, youth ministers. And in Colombia, they don't have a lot of lay formation. It's it's just the priests who do everything. And so the fact that there's more people who are willing to step up and be like, no, I have a desire to do this too, and to preach and to teach. And so there's 250 plus people at this conference. I do not speak Spanish. So that was fun. I did have a translator. I was praying for the gift of tongues, but it didn't happen. But that conference, I was so struck with one, just from the get-go, we could go so deep because they're so hungry for anything. They're like, we want Jesus. We want Jesus. And so as well as they have such a childlike faith, like if you tell them Jesus can heal you, they're like, yeah, okay. And so I was able to pray with myself and other people were able to pray with people and just what the Lord is doing and stirring up in Colombia.
Wow.
And that's just the beginning. I mean, I know there's people who are missionaries all over the world, like the church in Africa and in China. Like it's just exploding and people are coming into realization of like, this is like life with Jesus is worth it. So it's very exciting, I think, to be a Catholic.
So
and like, I don't know, if you're depressed about America, just live out your faith more.
Just know there's people out other places that are going on. Better.
Yes. Yeah. I know.
There's hope.
There's hope. So
so
I think
beautiful.
those are.
I know, really, it's true. We were talking to some of the people who are running the conference this weekend. They're like, how can people say that like the church is dying and this generation doesn't care when you look at this?
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's like they really believe it. And the other day we went to the session at 8 a.m. and the DJ's like playing, and he's like, hands up for Jesus. And these kids are like, ooh. It was like, it is 8 a.m. I thought they would all be like sleeping.
Yeah.
And they were just there and they were excited. And it's not like mandatory to be at these this early. And they were just in it.
Yeah.
So cool.
It does give hope of like, God's not done yet. Like he promised that the gates of hell would not prevail against church, and he meant it. So
he meant it. Can I hand you this mic for a second? I'm going to grab my phone.
Yes.
So I have our stories.
Yes.
Oh, wait for the lovely Chanel Shaw.
Perfect.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
You guys, Allie's a girly who likes to be surprised. She likes to be spontaneous in this particular way. I guess I shouldn't out you in all ways. But she's feeling spontaneous today, so she has not heard at all what our stories are going to be, and she just wants to go in blind.
Okay, perfect.
And we love that for her. Oh my gosh, perfect timing, Chanel. We're about to launch into
Here
our
she
first story.
is. Perfect.
Pop those headphones on. Say hey to the people.
I'm here.
We missed you.
Hey, everybody.
Thank God Chanel's back.
Thank the Lord.
How's everybody doing? This podcast would have been nothingness without you.
I know. Well, I
Nothing.
never do this free, so I was
Nothingness.
like,
We
oh,
actually
the
have
Lord
just
better
been
provide.
staring at the camera
There
the
it
whole
is.
time.
Jasmine-
We haven't said anything.
Jasmine
Sorry.
cannot function on her
this is
own.
great.
So.
I am nothing without Chanel.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be back. So
Everyone knows. I'm just honored to be your friend. Honestly, at
Right back at
NCYC,
you.
it's been really funny because I've been at the Alive and New booth naturally, and so many people have come up and been like, I heard that Chanel Shaw was going to be at this booth. Like, is she around? And I'm
She's like, yeah, she has a signing. It's $5, but
I'm like, you know what? She'll be right here. But if you register for
on.
camp, she'll actually come back quicker.
yeah, she takes Venmo, Cash App, Zelle. But also, you need to come to Alive and You because Alive and You is
Only-
the best camp.
That's
the best
where you'll see
Catholic
Chanel
camp
in her
that there-
element. What you
Yeah.
guys know of Chanel is like Chanel Shaw, speaker, like Catholic Instagrammer. What you
Icon.
don't know of
Come
Chanel
on.
Whoa,
is like,
whoa,
but
whoa.
like only the real ones know like in the grind Camp Chanel.
Only the real
And that's a
ones know.
different Chanel.
It is. She's
That's
tired.
the original. That's her to her
She's
truth.
tired.
she is
She's wearing
tired.
the same pants
Yeah,
every day.
The truest form of Chanel.
I
Yeah,
need to see
like,
this
all
form.
the
I think.
tired.
Yes, I know. You
yeah.
really need to come
Love
to
to
the
you to
keynote.
come to
We'll
camp.
talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we'll chat.
We'll make it happen.
So
the dream team is going to arrive
Come on,
at
I
Alive
know.
and You
They're gonna be like,
2024.
what is this camp?
Come on.
We're just actually recording Anti-Depressing the whole time.
I know. So have you guys had your
Okay,
Catholic
we didn't
story?
play a game, and I think we have time to maybe play one round
I would
of a game
love.
and then
Okay.
launch in.
I would love. So, Ali, thank you so much for being on, by the way. For those
Absolutely.
listening, Ali met us yesterday.
Last
And this is a power
By
of the
happen
Holy-
chance too.
Yeah, and this
because
is
we were at
power
a
of the Holy
friend's
Spirit.
booth.
Yeah, we were at a
What
friend's
a
booth,
gift.
and I was like, I feel like I've seen you somewhere. And
Uh-huh.
our friend Chica was like, dude, you've never met Ali? And I was like, no. And
Yes,
it was just like so crazy because I've seen you like online.
Yeah.
As the world is, and so it's just so fun. And then she got to eat dinner with us. We got
And
to eat
most
dinner with
importantly, we
her.
bonded
So
over
fun.
We
eating
bonded
skillet
over
cookies.
eating skillet cookies.
Bless it.
So good.
So many gifts from the Lord.
Ali and
Thinking
I
about
took
that forever.
Dude, so good. Ali and I took an Uber with another friend.
That was
like
literally a
10-minute walk. A 10-minute walk because we
And
just
it was worth
awesome.
it.
It was worth it. We literally stood
Way
in a
too
liquor
cold.
store waiting for an Uber, and we were like, "It is worth.
Forget this.
It is worth it." While Jasmine grinded it out with
Yep.
our other friends.
Way to go, proud of you.
Way to go.
Thank you. I was proud of myself.
Yeah. So
No.
what a dynamic friendship that has formed in the past less than 24 hours. So
Seriously.
This is a gift.
it has been a gift for sure. So, Ali, on our show, we play a game called "If You Know the Words to This Song." It is our
Oh
seen it
my
before.
gosh,
game.
yes.
You ready?
Oh,
We love this
I'm
game.
horrible at this game, but I try so hard.
As
Wait,
am
same,
I,
same, same.
which is
Mhm.
usually why
We all
I'm
are.
the one that like tries to sing it, but like never guess because I'm
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah,
but
me
I
too.
also give horrible singing.
Yeah.
hints.
That's not the note at all.
Yeah.
No, Jasmine and
It's,
Will,
like, not
last time we
even-
played,
she'll
they
be
were
like,
like,
I'm like, that doesn't.
It's
that's
like,
too
that's
much.
horrible.
Oh, wait,
Stay
she's
alive.
ready.
I don't know.
Okay. Allie's
So,
ready. Let's
yeah,
do it.
so
Okay.
okay, so let's start it off. Jasmine, would you like to sing with me?
I'm definitely losing my voice, but let's
Perfect.
do it.
Okay, I can lead. I'll do the
Okay.
You lead, I'll come in with
Yeah.
the raspy background.
yes.
Okay.
If you know the words to this song, sing along, sing along. You
Are so beautiful.
Is she right?
Whoa,
Is that right
yes.
too?
That was really good.
Was it though? because if it's not, it's okay.
No, that
Oh,
was
what?
so good.
That's
wow.
good.
And
You do love that song.
and usually
I thought you were gonna sing "You Are the
Best
Best
thing.
Thing."
honestly,
Dun,
I could have
dun.
because
That was
I'm
also
a Ray
good.
Lemon
Thank you,
Taj
thank
girly.
Come on.
But that just speaks to how you and Will say I am not good at giving prompts.
No, you literally
and
aren't.
she
though.
literally just guessed
You
it.
said a
Exhibit
full word.
A.
If it was Will and I, you would have been like, yeah. Like you would have said all of you. And then we would have been like, say more. And you would have been like, yeah. Like that's not even what's happening.
So thank you, Ali. That was
Done.
very great for
Wow.
everyone
wow.
listening.
One
is,
round and you crushed
she is
it.
she is
Maybe
gift.
this is my
She's pure
anointing.
gift.
Maybe this
is
song,
it.
like this game.
I can't
yeah.
even imagine how good your talk's gonna go later.
Man, I just
Wow.
need one
Big
word from
start.
Holy Spirit and just go.
And you
I
just
know.
go. If
Right.
he just gives you a little you're
That's it,
ready.
yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
literally like you should play that at the beginning of your session with the kids and just be like,
Oh
just
my gosh,
guess.
that would actually be
Yeah.
so fun.
That
just
would be
guess
funny.
like whatever the
You're
kids would be
welcome.
like.
That would be
Then
funny.
you have to put up our Instagram. On
Oh my gosh, I feel like
Actually
sponsor.
send these ladies-
This session is sponsored
Sponsor.
by. 'Cause I'm not
Anti-Depressing.
sponsored by anyone. So
Yeah. And Will will
We'll
be like,
sponsor
actually,
you. We'll buy you one coffee.
oh my
there
gosh,
it is.
come on.
And Will will be like, actually, so. But thank you, Ali, for playing with us.
Are you ready to
Anytime.
dance?
Let's do a little dance.
A, right?
Yeah, I think it's A.
We didn't even tell you we danced, and you just felt that.
I felt that.
just
This
came
is how
through.
connected we are.
This is like,
Okay, people don't dance to that though.
well, we normally like prep them that they're gonna have to dance.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, you just feel it in your bones.
Oh,
Wow.
come on.
all right. Hit
Digging
us with
you.
a story.
Come on.
Digging you. So,
I can't wait.
okay, so this story kind of caught me off guard when Jasmine initially shared
She was
it.
like, "We're not gonna talk about that."
Yeah, I was like, this is
Oh,
weird.
perfect. Okay.
Okay, so the Rio iconic Christ story, so Christ the Redeemer, the one with like the big outstretched arms,
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
welcomed Taylor Swift with open arms thanks to Swifties and a priest. They projected a Taylor Swift shirt
The t-shirt on
featured
Jesus.
from
Show
You
her the
Belong
picture.
With Me.
We'll throw the picture up.
Yeah,
on our
featured from
Instagram.
You Belong With Me. They projected a shirt onto Jesus. And
It sounds bad.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So you have the same reaction that I did when
She
Jasmine
looked
told.
shocked. She looked shocked.
Um,
Wait for it.
So the 125-foot, according to the Today Show, foot Christ the Redeemer was illuminated Thursday night with a message welcoming the singer to the country for her latest leg of the Eras tour. So here's the flip. They projected the shirt, and it was done as an act of charity, and orchestrated by the Christ the Redeemer Archdiocesan blah, blah, blah.
Office. There's
which
like a
manages-
priest who oversees that statue.
manages the
Okay.
statue. So
Okay.
Wait for it.
So, on social media, Swifties asked Rio Mayor Eduardo Paez to project onto the statue a likeness of the shirt from You Belong With Me. And their plea went viral. And so here we are. Here it is.
Just
Okay.
Jesus in a t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, welcome to Brazil. Oh, okay.
It doesn't look as bad as it sounds,
no,
right?
it doesn't. I thought it was a shirt of like Taylor Swift's face. on there
No,
or
yep.
something.
It's just all words.
And then what are the? Do you know what the words are? Oh, sorry. Do you know what the words?
I
Oh,
ac-
I can't read that. So okay.
Yeah, well, it's all
It's not
in
in English. I
Spanish,
should
but
have
it's
known
like
that.
it is
It's my bad.
her shirt from You Belong With Me, but in Spanish.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then
And so then.
explain how it happened.
Okay. So then the mayor was like, I request that all the fan club people
I
direct
don't think
their.
I think the priest, right?
Well, it says
okay.
the mayor like did his part where he
Okay, yeah,
received the
mhm.
request, and then he directed them to
Yes, to the priest.
the priest at the archdiocese, Father Omar,
Mhm.
and he told Father Omar, the ball is in your court now. All these hundreds of millions of people want Taylor Swift to be here.
Do with it what you will.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's in exchange for the projection, the priest who runs the popular Catholic site challenged Swifties to raise money to buy food and drinks for the upcoming Catholic Church's World Day of the Poor, which will be marked on Sunday. In one day of crowdfunding, fans raised about 37,000 American dollars, which covered the cost of 20,000 loaves of panetones, a traditional sweet yeast bread, so delicious,
Wow.
and bottled water for Rio's homeless, a statement from the sanctuary said. With the fundraising
So
goal
amazing.
met, the statue was lit on Thursday night.
Wow.
A small team from the sanctuary and a few Swifties started distributing the food and drink to those in need that evening. And
like stood at the
Father,
statue and like
Yeah.
distributed.
yeah, and Father Omar said, young people like challenges, so we
Mm.
directed the energy of fans to do good. This can be and will be replicated. It's a mobilization for solidarity, Christ the Redeemer descending the mountain to impact society.
I just got full body chills
Same.
from that one sentence.
Same.
Seriously.
Yeah, that took me.
wow.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's good.
Yeah.
I know some like Uber. I want to be careful what I say, but like
It's okay.
Uber traditional.
Whoa,
like,
whoa, get off.
Cancel, cancel.
Say
Get
that.
off.
You know
Cancel
what?
her.
Cancel me. I don't even care at
Boo,
this
tomato,
point.
tomato. Yeah.
yeah. Good thing I like tomatoes. The acidity. Suckers. Would be like, how dare they desecrate? But at the same time, like one, I think I would feel different if it was like a picture of Taylor Swift or like
Yes.
some like I'd
Or
be
they
like, okay,
painted it
come on,
like
yes.
it's a projection.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna turn off.
But the fact that one, the priest had the foresight of like, this statue is not like it's a statue of Jesus. It's not Jesus.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's not like
Amen.
it's a monstrance or like the Eucharist or something, you know?
Yes.
But the fact that he saw an opportunity of how can we, one, have an open door for conversation, for, oh, this is something that like the Catholic Church is saying, yes, like come. But
Mhm.
also let's do something.
Yeah,
And the fact that, man, first of all, the power of Taylor Swift is like
I know.
unreal, and Swifties in the world.
The
$37,000.
power of Taylor Swift.
And the fact that the priest had like, one, the courage to say, okay, but this is what we're going to do with it. And then that like the Holy Spirit, I think, knowledge of just, then this is how we're going to use this for good.
It's so true.
And what I feel like what an open door that is for people to be like, wait, if they did this and they had this, like, it was an immediately closed door, like absolutely not, like we're closed off,
Yep.
Okay, that's amazing. Who knows what seeds were planted?
Who
I know.
knows?
Who
And
knows?
honestly, you
Mhm.
guys, it's like it's that fine line between people thinking like, okay, the church is relevant. The
Yes.
church
Mhm.
is in the mix of culture.
Yeah.
But we're also countercultural, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I could definitely see that there might be some people that are like, oh, bleh.
You're like
Yeah.
desecrated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, think about how cool it is that $37,000, like,
So much money.
holy crap, dude, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
so much money just because people love this person who performs what music you may like or dislike, whatever. But to
Mhm.
mobilize that fandom to be
Mhm.
like, okay, well, you guys like put your money where your mouth is.
Yep.
You really like Taylor Swift and you want us to do this for her to welcome her to our country. Well, then,
Yeah.
okay.
You're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
You're not even like
They're
yeah.
not.
people won't even know, oh, I helped put up that.
No.
Like
Yeah.
you
Just
don't get
doing it.
anything out of it other than this is your desire. Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
do
Then
it.
let's like do it.
I know, and like the call to something more
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
was instilled there. And then it's like, and I love that he said, like, young people like a challenge. Like they do. And for him to have that much, like, kind of grasp on
Yeah.
culture, and especially on like the Swiftie culture, that like this has been happening kind of all over the place with like businesses being stimulated and like,
Yes.
and
Yep.
Taylor has kind of set that scene of like she's given a bunch of bonuses.
Mhm.
She's like given tons of money to homeless shelters and food banks every
Yeah.
city she's gone to. So for them to be like, oh, I get to be part of that with
Mhm.
her, and for the Catholic Church to kind of step into the scene. 'Cause
Yeah.
so far we haven't really been
Yes.
in the like Swiftie tour scene.
Mhm.
So to kind of take a step into like, oh, like there is like a lot of generosity happening here, and we can like kind of be part of this
Yes,
movement.
yes.
I think is so smart.
Yeah.
And like you said, like it's just such like inspired by the Holy Spirit to be like, this is the beginning of this, and
Yes.
this can be something more
Yeah.
and will be something greater.
Say, I'd
Yeah.
love to see what follow-up happens of like,
Yeah.
you could do so much with the trust that you're building. Because honestly, I think a lot of people, they do not trust the church at all.
Oh,
I
for sure.
mean, we all know this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's sometimes where I'm just like,
Yeah.
and I'm a full-blooded disciple of Jesus, but still I'm just
Yeah.
like, Catholic till I die. But I'm like, okay, well.
Yeah.
And so to build like this trust of like, okay, this to have that, and then I'm excited to see if there's follow-up of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, an open door of like, you see different dioceses that have like a a night where they just bring people off the street of like, do you just want to come inside and just pray, or just say a prayer? Can we pray for you? Or just that of like that open of like, okay, we're gonna reach across these boundaries, because I honestly think like what we've been doing for years and years and years is not working. And like even ever since COVID, like ministry, what normal ministry, what we think of, it can't happen like we've always done. So to be able to be like give away our control and our like grasping of what it should look like or what should be done, and to be able to just do something new and
That's
to
so
like
true.
do something that's out there and be like, you know what, I'm not perfect in this. I don't know if this is going to turn out to be something like really crazy or whatever, but I'm going to try it. And I'm not afraid of the consequences. Like,
Yep.
come
You're
on.
so right. I was
Come
literally
on.
just in a conversation with someone yesterday at NCYC who was talking about teens now in like our post-pandemic world and how they just want to do. Like they want to do. They don't want to just like sit and learn. Like they want a challenge. They
talk
want
about it.
action. They're like ready to do it. And if they don't see their youth group actually doing the work, they're going to leave and find somewhere else that's doing the work.
100%.
Because there are so many good like humanitarian organizations that are doing the work. And if we're not doing it, they're going to think we're phony.
Yes.
Like, and they're going to see through it. And we were talking about it like because we, work for a Catholic service camp. And I have a lot of youth ministers who are like, oh, my kids just like aren't catechized enough to know why they serve. So like we can't bring them yet because they're not ready. And I'm like, they need to do it. Like they're not going to believe you that it's important if they don't see you doing it.
Come on. Yeah.
And it's like, they just need to do, like they're tired of just sitting because they had years of their formative years of life where they were inside, couldn't do, were over Zoom, still at their schools. They're still just starting to do, and they have all this like pent up energy of like action. And like they just need to like make up for that time and be able to like actually be doing things,
Wow. Come on.
And also we've talked about parasocial relationships, and we've talked about Taylor Swift a lot. So thank you guys for
still on that train.
Thank you.
Everything circles back.
Talked a lot about like parasocial relationships and how people feel like they have relationships with anyone of influence that
So
isn't
true.
actually a reality. So like we know that exists and stuff, but we also know that relationships precede catechesis. So you have to have a relationship.
I know she didn't
with
just
people.
hit us with
so
that.
it's like that's it. I'm done.
That's
it.
Seriously.
Thank you for coming, Chanel. Thank you for coming.
Honestly, y'all go pray about. I'm gonna go pray about
That's
that.
it.
That's
But it's like-
100%.
Yes, but it's
So
like you
true.
have to have a relationship with someone before
Come
you
on.
It's like
they're
you
not
can't
gonna believe
launch
you.
into someone's DMs on Instagram and like chastise them about blank.
Oh my gosh.
And you don't know them. So it's like you have to have a relationship. And I think that Father Omar was so smart because he's like, hey, you guys feel like you have a relationship with this woman who doesn't know you, but sure, you guys feel like really close to her, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we acknowledge that relationship. We put value and purpose and worth on it. And so let's use that relationship and bring you to a point of catechesis, knowing that like out of relationship, you need to be generous.
Yeah.
And like that wouldn't have worked if he was just like, hey, Taylor Swift's coming. It's boosting the economy. Can you guys give us more money and help feed people?
Exactly.
They'd be like, no.
But there was like an exchange.
Yeah, there was an exchange and an acknowledgement of like, oh, you have a relationship. And so it's not just this like thing we're constructing out of air to be like, now give the church money and give poor people money. It's like, no, now do this on behalf of blank. Like sometimes people need that prompting, it's like, do this on behalf of Jesus Christ. Then we know you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, so you're more willing to do this. Do this on behalf of Jasmine Joubert, who you met one day and you have a connection with. So that relationship precedes the catechesis and the generosity and the whatever else the heck we're asking teens to do. Because we know that they're not just going to do something out of their own thing. They need to know that people care and they feel like Taylor Swift cares. And
that's
now they feel like the church cares.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's a
Come on.
smooth avenue, But just remember, if the only takeaway here is that Taylor Swift, maybe one day she'll convert. Who knows?
Who knows?
And who knows? She could see this and be like, Christ.
Who knows what crazier things have happened?
Crazier things
They
have happened.
absolutely have.
And then just second, just before you talk to somebody and you feel like getting all up in their space or whatever, or catechizing them, just like see if you can just know who they are. Challenge.
Build that relationship first.
Challenge. Yeah. Build that relationship and see if you could just like give him a little chat
Mm.
and rely on the Holy Spirit to give you some promptings of what's appropriate.
true.
Because I think Father Omar was like, I'm kind of going to lean on the Holy Spirit on this one. And
Yeah.
I think that like, I'm going to challenge you guys to like honor this relationship you feel like you have and
Mhm.
do something about it. So,
true.
That's like,
challenge.
I started saying this prayer before I go into whatever audience, or even if it's a one-on-one of like, Lord, help me to love them first, because I think that's like, we want to evangelize and we want to convert people and bring them to heaven with us. And that's really great. But I think what piece is missing is that love your neighbor as yourself. And like, we think that's such like an extra thing, or that's what like holy people do. But like, when people know that they're known, seen, and loved, they're way more willing to listen to you rather than
Absolutely.
like, you don't even know who I am. Like, you don't know my life, but you think that I should live this. Like, you have no idea where I'm coming from. So the more that you love people, even if that's the only thing that you do, like that, I think that's way more important than, all the theology we could spout out.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also great because Jasmine's married to a little theological.
And we love
he
that.
Loves,
we
he
love
loves
that.
his
Right? We
theology.
need
But he's
that.
like had
He's
to
also-
learn that over the years of like not coming in hot with like the,
Yeah.
that's not true, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. And now like Chanel and I have, known him since he was 19. So in his like peak, like, well, the truth needs to be said no matter how much it hurts, And Chanel and I talk about it, coming back to Taylor Swift, in All Too Well, she says like so casually cruel in the name of being honest. And we'll say to Stephen, we're like, that was like your vibe, like that is like how a lot of, at least our like, like Catholic people who like feel like it's their mission to tell people what the truth is. It's like, you are just casually cruel in the name of speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And that is not what people relate to.
No.
And they just are never going to have you come up to them and like coming in so hot, saying something that's true, but really like hurtful to them.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh my gosh, you're right. You're so right. I love the church now.
Yes,
Like, it's
I
just
love
not,
this. Yeah.
It's never going to go down the way you think. And so I think people really need to work out like, what is the goal here? And so starting with like love first, starting with relationships first, it's like wild the growth that Stephen has gone through of like, oh, I really need to like hit it with the like, let's love each other, be friends. And then so many people in our lives that never would have responded to like coming in hot will be like, hey, Stephen, like, what do you think about this? Or they'll like come to us and be like, hey, I've got some like questions about the Catholic Church about this, that, and the other.
And I asked Stephen
able to have conversations
all the time. all the time.
time.
I'm like, Stephen, I don't know, like, what do you think? When I used to work at Parish's diocese, Stephen would call me on his way home or whatever, and I would just be like, dude, I just blah blah blah. And he was like, yeah, I totally get it. And speaking so much life into me of things that I was going through, but also being like, yeah. And I knew that Stephen cared about me and our relationship.
Yes.
So to where I was
huge.
like, oh. And when he would say things, I'd be like, yeah,
You're like, dang,
you're
so
right.
loves
Yeah,
you.
it was like, you're right. But I would never take it like, what? I would just be like, okay, yeah. You're right. That makes a lot of sense. And he was like, yeah, I really think you should think on that. But it's because he knew me. And there was this, like you said, it's like teens know that people care.
Yeah.
So, and
Come
adults
on.
know that people care. So who would have thought, who would have thought
that.
I thought people like to be loved.
jumping into people's Instagram DMs and chastising them or whatever the heck, like
Ain't
who
the
would have
way
doesn't work.
to go.
Who would have thought that people
Please
don't
stop.
like that?
Yeah, when has that ever worked? If that has, DM the show. And if you've been
I know, I'm
converted because someone was
confused.
yelling at you in DMs, let us know.
Please let us know.
If
Maybe
you
we're
respond
wrong.
to being yelled at, we can like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm gonna put my counselor hat on if you respond well to being yelled at. Baby
Yeah, then
girl,
we'll
'cause
talk. We really will.
That's a whole
I
other
don't
thing.
I don't feel very good about that.
Yeah,
So,
that's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. So
That's good.
Jasmine, can you roll us into our second story?
yes. Okay. This one's short and sweet.
Okay.
So Shakira has 2 children,
Amazing.
and she recently won an award. And during the acceptance speech, let me find her exact quote. I mean, first of all,
Oh my
cuteness,
gosh.
2
so
little
cute.
boys.
I
Like,
love
I
it.
love
and
their
they're
mommy.
beautiful little blonde.
Yeah.
They're
babies.
beautiful, and you can just tell. And she said, "This award I dedicated to my sons because I promised them I would be happy. I promised them that they would have a mom that will laugh with all her might because that's what they deserve."
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's really sweet. Way to go, Shakira.
Way to go.
I think that's
And
amazing.
I just love that quote so much that I was
Yeah.
like, I just can't.
Everyone's
Yeah,
not be
and a
happy.
couple of
Promise them I
episodes
would be
ago, we
happy.
talked about, we had our divorce episode,
Hey yo.
We went to the Jonas
Divorce.
Brothers concert, and we
Oh,
reflected
heavy on the
on
divorce.
fresh.
the divorce,
Yep,
and then we
fresh
went
off.
on a retreat for adult children of divorce.
The day
Wow.
after.
The day after.
Wow.
So
It was the divorce weekend.
Yes.
Divorce vibes.
but
Well, not
antidepressing.
vibes.
Healing,
So.
but not sad.
But not
Yeah,
sad.
We're
not sad.
fine.
Yeah,
A little bit.
We're getting healed and whole.
so it's like, just thinking about even that and talking about those relationships that we had growing up, and thinking about these two sweet boys asking their mom, like, we want you to be happy. Like, we would
Wow.
like for that to be something
Yeah.
that you do. And seeing her be like, I understand the importance of that. Like,
Yeah.
it's so important for children to have that
To have happy parents.
formative,
And
like,
even like
ooh,
that, I promised I would be a mom that laughs. Like,
yes.
how many children just see their parents like grinding it out to provide for them, to
Yep.
work hard,
Yep.
and they see all these other attributes, but they like miss the parts where their parents are laughing with them.
Yes.
And when you're tiny, like your parents laugh with you because everything you do is cute, everything you do
Yeah.
is sweet. And as you grow up, like I feel like you kind of stop seeing your parents being silly, being fun, like really genuinely happy. And what a gift it is for kids when they see their parents like just enjoying them, you know?
Yeah, I have 4 nieces and 1 on the way, which is very
Oh,
exciting.
congrats.
All
So
girls,
sweet.
girl gang,
girl
gang forever, man.
Pretty girl club.
forever.
Mhm.
And it is so fun to see my sisters become moms, my sister-in-law to become a mom, and just because I have 2 amazing parents, and they really set an example for us of what it means to delight and to be childlike, and to have set up traditions and
Yeah.
things that we can just cling to and own. And the older I
That's
get, the
so
more
sweet.
people that I meet all around the globe, I realize like what a gift it was to have that childhood, because both my parents are entrepreneurs, and so it was just up and down sometimes in life, but I never remember that. What I remember is like the road trips that we took, or like the just the silly things and the traditions that my parents started, because I think they realize that. And then what my siblings are now doing
And carrying on. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not a mom. I don't have any children, but I can imagine like you only get so many years with them
Yeah.
in that, and they won't remember. I'm assuming they're not going to remember, these are the hours that you worked and this is what you set up, but they
Yes.
will remember, oh, you were there for me. Like
Mm.
you saw and you were able to be silly. Like you came to my stuff. You were like there in whatever way. It doesn't necessarily have to be just that, but I
Yeah.
think again, it goes back to known, seen, and loved. Like
There it is.
the power
Exactly.
of presence.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
is
true.
And it's just
huge.
like that sweet thing of that formation.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Mhm.
children. And I oftentimes like speak on Jasmine's children because
I
they
will
are,
too now.
I like
right.
absolutely.
They're
No, when you
everybody's
meet them,
kids.
you're going to
Yeah. Oh my
absolutely
God.
pass
Yeah, they're
away. You're going to
everywhere.
pass away. But it's like, I reflect on her children and my little nephew a lot, but it's like one particular day I think about, because we all work a lot. I'm
Mhm.
sure everybody here
Mhm.
works a lot, and it's easy to keep tab of like your accomplishments, your certificates, your classes,
Yeah.
or whatever the heck.
Mhm.
But it's like children could really give a crap. And I remember
Yeah.
like one day I was like giving her oldest daughter a bath, and her youngest daughter, and they were in separate little bathrooms, and I was setting up the tub for the oldest daughter, and she was like talking to me just about the day and life and whatever. And she was like, okay, if you could turn off the light. She likes a kind of cozy vibe in the bathroom.
Love that.
She was-
Same girl.
She's very cozy
Same.
girl, like her
Cozy
mommy.
girl.
And so
She
she was
knows
like,
what
if you
she
could just
likes.
kind of turn off the light. And she's like, if you could put on like Daniel Tiger sleep music, which I'll play for them,
Are we
like
the
Daniel
same
Tiger.
She's a self-care icon.
She really is, because Daniel Tiger, shout out, has this amazing
Sponsor us.
like sleep which I even like as an adult. It's like bedtime
Uh-huh.
music, and it's just really like calm
So
and
calm.
nice.
Mhm.
And so I'd play that for them when I would bathe them, like just for
When they're
a while.
babies and everything.
And so it was just like, and I hadn't even mentioned it, and I was like running to both bathrooms trying to set up their stuff and whatever, and she was just sitting in the bathtub, and she was like, hey, Nanny, would you mind, could you put on like Daniel Tiger music? And I was like, oh, sure, because I was so like frazzled and thinking between like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta like go downstairs and put the dog outside so you can go to the bathroom and then come back up and make sure you guys are like okay. And she was just like, oh, and I put it on, and then she literally just sat in the bath and was just like, and laying there and playing with her little toys, and just was like, great. And she's so content. And that's like all she needed. She was like, thank you. And she remembered that, which is something I was like, oh, I don't know if the kids are actually like listening to what I'm putting on the back.
Right.
I'm trying to like set the vibe for them, but like I don't know if they even care, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like the fact that she was like, oh, can you please put that on? And I just want to like be cold. And she felt safe enough to be like, I just want to kind of like.
Felt safe.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just kind of want to like lay in here and I was like, girl, do your thing. And I put that on and I just like let them both play. And I'm just reflecting on that power of like kids remember
Remember the details.
Those things that you're like, oh, I don't like when you're as an adult, you're like frazzled and you're not really thinking about it. And they remember and they know the tone of your voice and they know like when you're not sounding great or when you're upset or when you're happy. And wouldn't it be cool for your children to have more of a memory of that positive tone, like mommy and daddy sounded happy, and not to constantly be like associating with this, like, you know. And so I'm so happy that Shakira is like, you know, I want to like laugh. I want my children to
remember
have
me like that
memory,
and not this like sad, you know.
Yeah, I saw something recently where mom said like, I want my kids to grow up not only knowing that I love them, but knowing that I enjoyed them. Like I genuinely like loved
that's amazing
spending time with them. And I just think that's such a beautiful, like,
yes,
we always harp on like, I want my kids to know I love them, I love them, I love them. But sometimes at the cost of being like, so I'm going to work more hours so I can provide for them. I'm going to do this so I can give them this. And it's like, they need to just know that you enjoyed being their parent.
and like hear that. Like audibly, like with your words
so
and
many
actions,
times
but
of just being like, I love, like I'll be around Jasmine and Steven a lot, which is a blessing, and they'll like talk to their kids and they're like, oh, I love spending time with you.
That's
huge.
huge.
I love watching you play. I love, and so her kids are like, we laughed about her youngest kid is like so confident and
It's like,
it's,
amazing.
like, intense.
You're like, okay, actually, we should knock that down a little bit.
But it's like amazing to be like, oh yeah. Her kids have no doubt that like mommy and daddy.
What
and,
a launching pad.
And
That's huge.
right?
That's, I mean, that's my dad. He does a lot of, he speaks for like the business world and does a lot of customer service training and a lot of just culture building. And he's so big on the culture can be changed, but it takes choices. Like a family culture, it takes deliberate choices. It doesn't just happen to you and all of a sudden, but it's years of like building things, of like being audible, like living, like you have to be audible to other people because we live behind our eyeballs. And so I don't know what's going on and I perceive something differently, but if I hear it from you, then that changes things.
It's so true.
And like I'm reminded of my mom's dad. She had a brother who, growing up, they had a pretty rocky relationship with her dad. And so one time my Uncle Mark told his dad, my grandpa was just like, you were never there for me. And my grandpa was like, I was at every single game. I was there at every single game. But what my Uncle Mark needed was like that audible, I'm proud of you. I love you. But my my grandpa, thought that he was. And so it's also learning like, what do other people need to know that, like that's what my parents I think gave me, was just a launching pad into the world of like, I feel like I can go and do anything in the world because I know that I have a space back home. My family, we even have, this is a family ring that everyone in my family has, and it's a promise ring from my family to me, of that it's the Alpha and Omega symbol. And on the inside, it's inscribed family, but it's just a promise that I needed to hear when I was in high school, of your family, like my family will always be behind me. Like it will, like you'll never go hungry unless you want to. You'll never be homeless unless you want to. There'll always be a space. And like to have that as a high school, you're like, oh, cool, I love it. So cool. But now that I'm in my 30s and like,
oh my god,
still living life and still trying to figure out
Grinding
things.
it out.
You needed to hear that.
To have that of like I know through years and years of learning what it means to be in a relationship with my parents, to have that launching pad into the world, to be able to truly use the gifts and talents that the Lord has given me to go
so
change the world without fear.
So beautiful.
Like that is huge. To Shakira, like going back to all that of like knowing that this is something that's important to my kids, so it's important to me.
Yes.
And that I want this to be a part of our legacy too, and not just like Shakira is this famous person, because that all is going to go away.
Yes.
On your deathbed, who's going to surround you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on.
That's
It's
so
like
beautiful.
These kids who would be like, you know, because if someone were to ask me right now, like something about my mom, I'd be like, oh, I love when my mom thinks something's really funny. She'll like clap or laugh or, you know, hit somebody near her or
Yes.
whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like all those things those are like first recalls. And and isn't it a blessing for each one of us?
Yes.
Like to have
that.
those to think of like when people think of us, what are the first recalls that they
Wow.
have? Like,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it like, oh, whenever I see that person, they're super busy. They're like
Yes.
bopping around. They're always doing something. They're always da da da.
Mhm.
Or whenever I see Steven, Jasmine's husband, he's always like, all right, what do you want to drink? What do you want?
Wow.
I could fix you
Just
up a little
present.
something. Or like, hey, what's
Mm.
going on? Or like,
Mhm.
hey, whatever, just go lay down and I'll like make you a cookie or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you.
I think
or
I
like,
need to come over.
dude,
I'm
I'm telling you,
telling
they're
you.
idyllic.
I
Idyllic.
like go through the door.
But
I'm like, I'm ready for my drink and my
you
cookie.
literally
Hi, I'm
give me
Ali.
my
but
Thanks.
it's like,
Hello?
you know, you go over there and Steven's like, all right, I bought this. Jasmine's like, I bought this stuff so we can make like the s'mores cups,
amazing.
the whatever. And I'm like, awesome. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'd go over to Jasmine and she's just like, hey. And it's just so like,
It's a safe space.
it's just a safe. Yeah. And like,
to be who
regardless of where everyone like, you know,
Yep.
whatever, everyone
Yep.
goes through their feelings.
you are. Yeah.
But to have that be like the first recall of like,
Wow.
I never doubt that this particular
Wow.
person, group, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is this particular way, like joyful.
Yeah.
And you never doubt that your parents are joyful. And
Yeah.
you're like, even if your dad calls you tomorrow and he's like, dang, I'm kind of had a hard day and I'm
Yeah.
sad. You're like,
You
that's
still know
okay.
who they
Yeah,
are.
You
we
still
have a
know who
whole
they are.
history.
And there's no like questioning of that,
Mhm.
you
So
know?
true.
And it's such a dynamic that takes time
Mhm.
because I don't just wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm confident that this person is
Yeah.
a source of safety and joy.
Yeah.
It's so
That
beautiful.
takes like such confidence to be like, okay, I've seen it, I've witnessed it,
Yeah.
I'm confident in it enough to where this person can act any kind of way tomorrow,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I'm not
I
going to be
still
like
know.
You
questioning
still
what.
know.
Yeah, you know.
And
So
people will always remember how they feel around you as well,
Oh,
whether good or
absolutely.
bad.
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
think that's always, because you can, like you said, like you're valid, your emotions are valid, and what you go through, and it's not like all happy, but to always remember that too, of like people,
It's so
they're
true.
gonna remember,
People will remember.
and it's hard to forget those first impressions sometimes, and yeah.
It's so true.
and especially with children, you know, little counselor
Yeah.
mommy
They
here
always
has worked with
remember.
so many
Man,
children.
They
gosh.
always remember.
And they
can
always remember.
imagine.
Just hearing Jasmine talk about some of her general experiences working with children, like
Yeah.
they remember so much. They were so much more
Even when you think they're like not paying attention.
insightful
like-
and like
Yeah.
intuitive to like
Wow.
what the changes of mood and vibe are than you
Yes.
think they are. You
Kids
know?
are such like heavy empaths too.
Mm.
Like our oldest especially is
Oh.
like, you know, she's like sometimes I'm like she's like cursed with empathy. Like it's like so much. She can just like feel the vibe of a room like nobody
Yeah.
else.
Wow.
And she immediately like all of a sudden will be like, what is happening like with these tantrums and these whatever. But my husband and I will be like, oh, like you had a stressful day at work. Like I'm going through this, that, or the other. Like we'll be at camp and like something will go wrong. And then all of a sudden she's like doing something and we're like, what is that?
Wow.
But we can kind of like trace it back to who she's around.
Mhm.
And we feel very protective of that, like who we surround her with, because
Yeah.
we know like, you know, there are certain people that when she's been around them for days in a row, like she's totally different.
Yeah.
And so it's like protecting
Mm.
your kids from that and ensuring that like no matter what the moods are of the other people around them, because they're going to have to deal with that for the rest of your life, that you're a constant of like
Wow.
balance. And,
Mhm.
you know, we'll even tell her like, mommy is sad. That doesn't mean you need to be sad, because like she will feel it right away,
Yes.
you know? And sometimes before you even do, she'll be like,
Oh, yeah.
mommy, like, are you feeling a little whatever? And then
Aw.
like, girl,
You're so emotionally
how are you in my
intelligent
brain?
right now.
Yeah. and she'll literally be like, she'll just come up to you and she's like, sometimes when I feel sad, I take a deep breath.
oh no, it's
and
so
you're
true.
like, and she'll be like,
what are
"Come
you
on."
trying to tell me about?
No,
She'll
the
come
other-
up to her sister. She's like, come on, Joy. Come on with me. Come on, take a deep, come on. And you're like,
Yes.
girl,
she'll see Joy
that's
like about to throw
amazing.
something
Yeah.
and she'll be like, sometimes we don't need to throw things. And I'm like, like the other day, Joy, she's a little defiant girly.
Uh-huh.
And she just wasn't listening. And Noelle could tell that I was like, this is it for me and you. Like, I am going to lose it. And she just came up and she was like, it's so good for our bodies to take deep breaths. Do you want to try it? Like, she's like,
okay, Daniel
character.
Tiger, get out of my
I know,
head.
but
But
like,
she
okay,
does
and she's
talk
like,
like that, which
ready?
is so
like the
funny.
10,
She'll be like,
but-
come on, you guys, let's go.
And like Joy's in the background, like jumping off the couch. She's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
come on, mommy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
I'm
God.
about to take some
I
deep
know.
breaths. Let me tell you what, child. Yeah.
She really
But it's so
is.
sweet.
That's
But
amazing.
girls, speaking of first impressions, you are a delight.
Oh my
An
gosh,
absolute
thank you.
delight.
Really
And
are.
I'm so glad you agreed to being here.
You guys are so easy to just jump off and like just go. It
We're
was great.
easy.
Don't
Come
Affirmations.
on.
We
Don't
love
fight.
Hey, yo,
affirmations.
come on.
Um,
Word of affirmation, girlies.
Yes.
Hey,
We do.
Big fans,
present.
love
Love
it.
them.
But we're so thankful you're here. I know we all have to go to this conference now.
Hey.
So fun. If you're, I mean, this won't release in time, but if you were at NCYC, sorry you missed us.
Yeah.
Much love.
Yes.
But we always finish with our favorite line: "The world is depressing, but we are not."
Hey yo.
Thank you, guys.
Amen.
Comment.
Follow Ali on Instagram.
Yes,
Follow
at-
Anti.
The Oodles of Doodles. It's my art.
I'm
I also have
obsessed with that.
a personal one, AMJ Hoffman, but
Follow
wherever.
both. Follow us
Follow
at
both.
Anti-Depressing. Like, comment, subscribe.
Smash that like button. Tell your friends about us.
Hey.
Affirm us. If you see something or heard something that you like, don't be afraid to tell us, because more
Spread the
people
joy.
need to be told about good things that they do.
What
So,
is happening?
so we appreciate you guys so much. Love y'all.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Yay.